Hello and welcome to Shake the Mic. Today I'm joined by mind coach and hypnotherapist Vinny Shoreman. He joins me in the studio today to talk about the mind, how it works and how we can tap into a higher state of consciousness. Also, we'll touch on hypnotherapy, the fight game and Vinny's life. Vin, thanks so much for coming in.
No problem, Jack.
Welcome on, my friend.
It's a pleasure. Let's see what we can dig out in this old skull of mine, you know.
All kinds. There's loads in there, Vin.
Yeah, there is, but something you can't share, aren't there? You know what I mean?
It's one I've been looking forward to. Okay. First things first. How does Vinny Shoreman from down the road in Cheshire end up on the biggest podcast in the world, all the way over in the States, the Joe Rogan Experience?
Long story short, I can't really say it short, can I? What happened was I've been a mind coach since 2007. I used to teach Thai boxing, had my own gym, etc. Train champions, this and this. Started to kind of fall out of love with it. Didn't have the passion that I had because various things were going on in my life, circumstances, fractured relationship with the kid's mum and etc. Like stuff like that. So I was going on a rocky road. So I ended up going to a seminar of a guy called Keith Mayer. Ironically enough, he's at Liverpool Football Club now. And I loved it, loved what he did. Didn't know why I felt so good afterwards. And then I asked him and he said it was NLP and hypnosis and neuro-linguistic program, etc. So I went on and sought out how to learn that. Wanted to do it as a career. Fortunately, I could because I knew a lot of fighters anyway because of Thai boxing. Anyway, so I worked with a guy called Joe Schilling from America who I knew because I commentated from K1, which is a kickboxing show. Those of you who don't know, I'm a commentator as well, so I've been. I'll touch
on that.
Okay. So anyway, from the commentary world, I knew Joe Schilling. Joe was a really nice guy, and he was fighting in a kickboxing tournament called Glory World Series, and he was, you know, going to fight in that, and there was some great fighters in it. And I said, "Shall I work with you on the mindset?" And he went, "Yeah, why not?" He ended up winning it, won $150,000 or $150,000, and he went on Joe Rogan because Joe Rogan was like, wow, an American kickboxer doing so well on a big show like Glory. And then Joe mentioned that he had a mind coach. And then Joe Rogan, being the inquisitive human that he is, said, oh, what's a mind coach? Blah, blah, blah. See that voice? Good impression then. And my voice isn't deep enough to do Joe's, is it? Anyway, so it comes about Joe mentioned me. People were texting me, oh, Joe Rogan's mentioned you. And I didn't realise how big it was until later on. So I just messaged Joe on Twitter and said, oh, thank you for the mention. He said, oh, if you're ever in town, come on the show. Well, strangely enough, I was going to LA, wasn't I, very soon? So I went to LA. My friend had a gym nearby called Brennan. He was a Thai boxing coach. Knew him from for quite a few years now. Lives in Thailand. A very nice guy. Shout out to Brian Dobler, who's a lovely person. And then went on Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan asked to be hypnotised, and the rest is history.
Give me all the feels, Vin. I want to feel it. When you arrived, upon arrival, what was it like going on the Joe Rogan Experience? You said it was in
scary.
LA. It was in LA. Yeah. What was it like? Walk me through it. You got there.
I got there and I was waiting for him to text me back and stood outside. It was roasting hot as it is in California. And then when he turned up, it's very surreal. I was extremely nervous. I mean, I do, as I said, I do commentary. I've stood in front of TV cameras, all that. Never really bothered me. However, when I met him, it was what it was, Jack. It was, he wanted to be hypnotised, and the show was live straight after on YouTube.
There's a lot riding on it, isn't it?
Indeed. So I had to cross that line. If he didn't go under, I'd have been in dire straits.
For you?
Yeah.
Is that the biggest moment of your career?
Yes.
So at that point?
100%. Yeah. At that point, I mean, I've had big points where I've had TV cameras pointing at me in Russia and all that sort of business. But yeah, at that point, because it was testing my belief in my ability and the belief in what I believe is a very good change system. It's not the only change system, of course. However, it was it was a testing thing. Fortunately, I was trained very well. Fortunately, I believe in my own abilities. But it was very, very nerve-wracking.
You hypnotised Joe Rogan. That's massive for anyone. When he actually came in, Vin, and you were in the room, and the two of you were together, what was that process? What did you do to him? What happened?
Well, there's a few things to do, and I've changed since then. So I've improved since then because I'm constantly learning me. I'm on it all the time. I'm always trying to improve myself in a way that makes me better for my clients, makes me better for people like you to come and explain things to people because I want to know. I'm nosy, yeah? Naturally inquisitive, I should say. And when it was in the room, it was funny because he shook my hand to shake my hand. He shook my hand like that, as if to say, well, he was very sort
skeptic.
of like, yeah, very nervous, I think is the word. And also, you know, I'd never met before, but he was very standoffish. And we went through a process and under he went.
Do you feel that barrier between you and him was broken down instantly after that? You know, the way you said, like, he shook your hand the first thing.
Yeah.
Afterwards, was that gone?
Yeah, because it's rapport, isn't it? It's you know, if you show who you are and be, because I'm no different. You've seen me in Derby Lane, in my underpants, which is a treat. Treat for anyone. No, but you know what I'm saying. And I'm no different than when I'm here, than when I'm there, than when I'm anywhere else. You know, I don't. I'm yourself. Not like that. Yeah, 100%. You can't be anyone else. So when I was on the show and when he went under, no, there was no barrier. Initially, he's nervous because hypnosis has got not a bad name, but there's some sort of people believe that, you know, you mind control, you can't get out of it. What if you go under and you can't be brought back from this? It's just so many misconceptions. So Joe's probably had them himself. So
I seen Joe Rogan actually say, I thought hypnosis was bullshit until I met you. That's what he said.
Yeah.
And I've seen him on not just the podcast that you actually done with him, on other podcasts mention you before, and he speaks highly of you.
Thank you. Look, I lead a blessed life, you know, and I just believe in being courteous to everybody. I don't like ignorance. I don't like arrogance. There's no need for it. If you're good at something, you're good at something. That's fine. But you don't have to, you know, swagger about like, you know, as if you walk on water. None of us do. But he has mentioned me quite a lot of times, and I'm grateful for Joe doing that. I'm very lucky.
Has that exposure changed your life in any way, even?
Yeah, my family's, everyone's, yeah, of course. It was like when
Did you realise how big it was at the time?
No, the heck, no. I came off it. See, I've been, you know that how many times I've been on. I've been on 4 times. So I've been on twice on my own, and I've been on twice with Liam. So,
Liam Harrison.
Yes, he's my very good friend, 8-time world champion. He's just such a top guy. And when I went on it afterwards, I was so wired because he said when I was on it, I did the hypnosis, and then he was quite quiet afterwards, which is a common thing. And then he said when the show started, and I was like thinking, shit, this is heavy, man. And so I've been watching Top Boy, haven't I? You get me? Love. So I was sat there, and then he just went, well, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, hypnosis is real. And I just went, and this weight come off my shoulders because, look, I could have been on Joe Rogan, being watched by millions of people and going, there's Vinny Shoreman, the hypnotherapist that doesn't hypnotise people. Yeah. Good luck with that.
Yeah, that's it. You're doomed. And especially with that exposure thing, if it goes well, it's massive. And if it goes bad, it's also massive.
Oh, indeed. And you know, when people then say to me, oh, I'm fighting this guy, or I'm doing this, or I'm going for this thing, or I've got to face anxiety and stuff, yeah. I've had it. Of course we've suffered it, and we have to face the things that we have to change. It's challenges. We've all got challenges, and we have to take them.
I'm looking forward to touching on anxiety and other topics a bit later on, Vin. I'm going to take it them places. Hypnosis, what exactly is hypnosis? How does it work, and what are the benefits of it?
It's one of the change tools that I use. I'm known as a hypnotherapist, which is fantastic, but I put it under the umbrella of mind coach, really. But hypnosis is a state of relaxation that you put yourself in. You're just guided to there by the hypnotherapist, and you just have an experience of what individually you have. Everybody's different. You walk down the high street, you see people different shapes, sizes, and fat, thin, tall. You know, some like Everton, some like Liverpool, some like, you know, other football teams, whatever, or someone doesn't like football. It's just there's such a mix that everyone has a different experience of it. But it's a very powerful tool. It's a very quick tool, especially for things like flying, you know, and certain nerves and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just an experience, I'd say. Hypnosis is an experience which I believe everyone should try it if they want to. If you're skeptical, that's okay. I don't mind that. If you say it doesn't work, then I'm not going to try and prove it. It is what it is, you know.
Yeah. Is there different levels, different stages of hypnosis?
There's different levels of relaxation. There's different levels of where you go deeper, and the more that you do hypnosis, the more that you become accustomed to it, as in you know how to go there yourself, etc. Yeah, and certain people, some people are more, and it sounds susceptible. Saying susceptible is a wrong word, to be fair. Some people are more react to it better than others. Some people follow instruction better than others. You know, there's no barrier, if you will. Some people. What
drawn you to it, Vim? What drawn you to want to learn it?
I didn't, if I'm honest. It would come part of a course I was learning on neuro-linguistic programming, which is neuro is brain, linguistic is language, and program is program. Basically, using mind-changing language to help people out, and mind-changing language really comes from hypnotherapy. So it comes from a guy called Milton Erickson, who is a very famous American psychotherapist, and he developed these really cool tools to put people into trance without them really knowing.
And is that NLP?
Yes, that's NLP. And then I got into hypnosis because it was part of it, and that was it really.
Could you teach me a little bit about NLP, Vin, and exactly like how it works, or certain techniques that you can use to try and like get in these states and stuff like that?
So even though you're just sat there listening to my voice, right, and you're just being with me in this room, and you're on your mic. I've called you a few minutes ago. I got a nice cup of coffee. Everything's calm in here, and it's where we should be. What you can also notice, and you probably haven't, but I've noticed, is that the more that you start to understand how it feels to feel sat in that chair, because we don't really know, we don't really think about it. When you start to put your awareness on how you feel in that chair, you start to feel more happy. Do you notice that? That's right. So, and also what I find, and it's a strange feeling, I know, Jack, and you're starting to smile, which is
because I'm aware now.
You're aware, that's right. So now you start being aware. You also start being aware that I've noticed now that your blinking's starting to get slower. You can notice that, can't you? And you can also notice that it feels calm in this room. Now, just by slowing the way that you talk down and leaving pauses, that adds more to it. That's NLP.
I feel heavy and nothing.
That's but it's nice though, is it not?
Yeah.
But it's just because you're a smart guy, you're a nice person. That's why I wanted to come on this. I wanted to come on your show. I asked you because I did see it, and I know what type of person you are. So when you start to feel that's follow instruction. See how you followed instruction then? Yeah. That means also that there's many avenues you could follow to expand your awareness, understand things that you probably may have thought years ago that you couldn't. Now you are.
I'm very interested, Vinny, in a lot of things, and I'm very open-minded, and I want to learn.
And that's the key to everything, is it not? The key to everything 100%. is just being on this journey of wanting to know things that you don't know. You know, I train with, who I train with? I train with Carl. I'm 54 next week. Week on Monday, I train with Carl from power boxing. I'm trying to learn to slip and move quicker, and he's showing me, and he's quarter of my age nearly. Then Jake, who I love dearly, Jake Clark, and training with him. And I've got other coaches, and I put myself in their hands because I just love that idea of exploring, learning, getting better,
That's where growth happens, isn't it?
Oh yeah, of course. But a lot of people can want to grow, and some people don't. But I'm cool with either way, really. If that's what they want to do, I'm not really forceful on people's lives.
it's essential for me, Vin. I feel like I'm just existing. If I'm not growing, I don't feel like I'm actually living. I feel like I'm just here. But that's just me.
You need to be careful today because you do look like you're already in trance, if I'm honest. You got all glazed and that. I'll be like, that's my phone, that's my iPad.
Hypnosis, is it something that needs to be revised or revisited in certain cases, or is it once it's done, it's done?
No. Everything is... See, this is the misconception about hypnosis, is you've got to want to change and you've still got to add your own... It's not abracadabra, it's not magic. I mean, certain things, yeah, you get over phobias. Phobias are quite easy to solve, if I'm honest. 15 minutes, you can do it. And again, though, it all depends on the individual. Like I said, the high street's full of different people, shapes and sizes. But with hypnosis, I think that you should carry on. If you've got a problem and you get it solved, there'll be another problem. Like layers, like it says in Shrek.
Onion
people
boy.
are like, yeah, onions are like layers. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's just like we have to explore our inner world to see what places need tidying up and what needs changing. It's a constant evolution. That's why.
Let's try and peel back the layers of Vinny Shoreman. Can we go back as far as you can remember, Vin, to the early days, to the beginning, the very beginning of your life? Can you tell me about your childhood, your upbringing, where you were born, your parents? If you'd be kind enough to share everything with us from far back.
I was born in Partington, which is in Cheshire. Well, it's Trafford, Cheshire. I had 5 brothers and sisters. 4 brothers and sisters. I was the 5th one. I had a brother called Paul who passed away. He was the eldest. And then, my dad was a registered psychopath. He was a schizophrenic, alcoholic. Used to batter my mum on a regular basis. I wasn't around. I was around, but I don't unconsciously remember it at all because he was on Stelazine, which was a liquid kosh, really. But I knew that my dad was abusive. We had nothing. We had nothing. I mean, we was the poor kids, the kids that had now. You know what I mean? Mm. And it was not easy. Any way, shape, or form. I had asthma very badly. Was hospitalised on a regular basis and pulled back from death's door twice. And it wasn't all darkness. You know what I mean? It was a lot of times we still share with my other brothers and sisters, or my other brother and sisters, about fun times we had anyway. I mean, look, there's humour in darkness, isn't there? You know, when we were dragged up, we know people like that. I was certainly one of them, and it was a difficult upbringing and stuff like that. But I was never into sport. Nothing, didn't like football, nothing. I was never really any good at it. I was good at making people laugh and I don't know, I always had a way of making people feel better. I don't know what it was. It's always been a sort of thing where I understood how people thought for some reason, even when I was younger.
Did you notice that at an early age?
No, not until I started to do the job, and I just get it. I just understand it. So I don't know if it's
now reflecting back on you as a child, you see it, but then you didn't see it.
No, didn't see it. I think I'm slightly autistic. I think I've got an autism on the spectrum, but I class it as a superpower. I don't class it as a hindrance. And I did Thai boxing, and then I got into Thai boxing, and then Thai boxing saved my life really because I was round the bend.
School life, what was it like? Was it tough? Did you fit in?
Yeah, I fitted in because I could make people laugh. So if you can make people laugh and make people alleviate school, but with me, no, I was never. They always said in school, if he could hone his energy onto something, he would excel at it. Everyone said that, every teacher. But I remember this teacher called Mrs. Moran I mentioned this on another podcast recently, when I lived in Longsight, which is a really rough part of Manchester. And all the kids in that school had no. It was just one of them schools. Yeah, it was one of them times and places. And Mrs. Moran said to me, I'll know, one day I'll see you on TV. I remember her saying that. I'll never forget that. And she was a real influence to me because, I wasn't interested in, maths and useful stuff.
Academics.
No, I was never interested in that. I couldn't keep my mind on things like that, because I got bored easily. Whether it's as the people labeling it ADHD now, or whatever, I don't know. But I just wanted to do something that I wanted to find, and whatever powers that be have put me into the right place and doing the right thing. I like helping people, Jack.
You can see that.
Yeah, I love it.
What were your social circles like?
It's the same as everybody else's, really. Just kids that were just trying to get by and stumbling around life, really. There was no real discipline in anything, except when I got involved in Thai boxing, you meet people that are more mission-minded then. Did
you have career ambition, Vin, when you were leaving school, upon leaving, going into the real world? Did you have any sort of vision where you were going or what you were doing, or did you just not know?
Never. Didn't have an idea. I just wanted to get out of school and go. I was working at a restaurant called What's Cooking. There's still one in the Albert Dock. There used to be one in Heswall, West Kirby, and Knutsford, where I lived. So we moved again. And worked there, and I just thought, I'll leave school and work there. Like, you didn't think about tomorrow. You only thought about
today.
I was going today, yeah.
You were living in the present.
Indeed, and I think some that's a hindrance. It's a hindrance, but it's also could be a help as well.
Massive positive sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah. It depends on what way you look at it. Indeed, yeah.
Let's touch on the human mind and the psychology side of things. When was the first time, or can you recall the first time, where you actually became aware of what was going on in your own head and you realised the power or the control you had over it, or with it even, should we say?
I'd say with it. I wouldn't say over it, because I'm not the finished product and I'm still not where I want to be. I think it's a gradual process. I think with this job, this career, this calling, whatever you want to say, it's very
I feel it's a calling.
I do. You know what? If I can understand how people think and talk and etc., then I think it's more than just something that you just do. You know what I mean? So, when did I start to understand, or when did I start? I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's progressive. You don't really notice because you're constantly evolving, that you don't look back, really.
Was there no key moments, no standout moments where there was a catalyst where you thought, like, I know how other people think, or I can read how other people think, or you knew that you thought a little? Because a lot of people then in day-to-day life they don't bring awareness to the mechanics of the human mind. They're just thinking about what they're doing then, or the present, or they're thinking about tomorrow, or they're thinking about yesterday, but they're not thinking about how this is working.
Well, no, they don't. They just carry on. But I mean, that's their prerogative, and that's their lives. Fine, if some will, some won't. So what?
I feel like that's what makes you an individual, and that's why you are where you are today, because your mind has went there, hasn't it? Obviously, to reach out to help people.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. I was always like that as a child. I was like that. I'd get upset over things because other people were upset. I remember sneaking this kid into our house. We had a caravan, and I snuck him in. This guy, I snuck him in because his mum had kicked it out, and I was nicking food from the house. And my mum said, "You can't do that. He's got to go home." I mean, I was only about 11.
But you just were looking for him.
I just wanted to look out for him. I don't know. I've always had that sort of feeling that if I can help someone, I will. And I'm like that. I think it's a duty, and I think with the modicum of fame that I've got. And it's not massive, but it's a modicum of fame that I've got, is to use it in a way that you can help people out. And I don't understand why people don't. It baffles me, it boggles my mind that when you've got the opportunity to help somebody out, do so.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you? So I've always had that. So I think maybe like what you're saying, the understandings of the mind, you can't really understand everybody's mind because, like I said, it's a high street thing because everybody's different. So
yeah, there's a wide variety out there, massive, and that's why we are all individual, isn't it?
Indeed, but just to say though, every single podcast has asked me the same thing. What is it about this? And you can't ever say because it's such a mixed bag of stuff. There is common denominators, but it's such a mixed bag of stuff that that's why I love it, and that's why every day's different.
For you, what are the key components to having and sustaining a happy, healthy mindset?
Passion. Simple word, passion. Passion to do what you're meant to do. Do the best things you can do. Passion. Desire, determination.
Someone who hasn't got any of these naturally installed within them, then what should they do?
Join the club, because neither did I. We all learn.
Amen to that.
It's one of those things, isn't it? If you want things to change, you've got to change them. It's like we all sit back and complain about things, but it's like if you're able-bodied and if you've got if you've got access to the internet or whatever, there's people out there that can educate you, that can give you understandings. Look at Joe Rogan does. He had Wim Hof on the show, and and all the other people that he's had, the multitude of people he's had to give you information to have a better life. What a gift he is to the world, mate, to be honest, isn't it?
Unbelievable,
of course
yeah.
He is. And like yourself, you're giving out knowledge here. People, they might take something from me that me useful, or somebody else that's useful. And this is just the time where we're inundated with such good things to learn. How can you not? But you've got to have the passion. If you don't got the passion, then you're not going to be where you don't want to be, are you?
No, it's a choice, isn't it?
Indeed it is.
When it all gets a bit much, and we maybe feel stressed or overwhelmed, how can we escape then?
It depends on what you're overwhelmed by, and it depends on what you're trying to escape from. It's very difficult. I think without trying to sell my business to people, I think everyone should invest in a therapist at least once. I do. I have a therapist called Hannah, straight talking therapist she's called. She's fantastic.
I'm going to ask you that.
Yeah, I do. I go and see Hannah. I was seeing Hannah for every week for, I don't know, quite a few months. And she showed me so many things. Absolutely, she's like, I just think she's brilliant. And now I see her like once a month. But I have to, because I don't know all the answers. People only ring me when they want something solving.
Yeah, it's a bit late.
Pardon?
Is it a bit late? Maybe would it be better if they phoned you before they needed something solving?
But you don't know until it's happening.
Mm.
You don't know, do you?
No.
So it's like, they don't know until it's happening. Fighters only contact me when they've lost. They don't contact me to prevent themselves from losing, But I mean, that's fine, and that's just life, and that's just the way it is. And you don't know until you're doing it wrong, and then when you realise you're doing it wrong, then you go to get educated and change in the right way, to get yourself to the right path, really.
Yeah, I think everybody needs a mentor, and good counsel is essential, isn't it? Indeed,
that's why we got mouths. That's why we got ears. Depression is very, 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 very prevalent in society at the moment, and anxiety. I know you wanted to touch on that, but I kind of fell over into it. And depression is a sign of helplessness, of hopelessness, of this place where there's only you know what's going on, or how you feel and stuff. And to express it to somebody else, and then when they share it and go, actually, yeah, I'm the same.
Sad, anything.
It's extremely sad and extremely upsetting for someone who's such an empath like me, because I think if you just would have spoke to me, we could have changed it. It's a terrible, terrible thing, depression. And whoever's suffering from depression, please get help. And you know what? My heart goes out to anyone. I'm not one of these people that goes, "Are you depressed? Are you? Oh, I'll get on with it." Because most of the time, people, when you talk about depression, and they go, "No, I'm depressed," and you go, "Oh, what about me?" People always shove your problem aside and then
go on to themselves.
Oh, yeah, it's common. It's so common that, well, I should be depressed because blah, blah, blah. We're not talking about you.
Yeah.
Be interested instead of interesting. How about that? That's the one motto that I've got in my mindset, and I use it all the time. Interested instead of interesting.
I like that, Finn. I like some of the one-liners you've come with, and I'm going to move on to another one. Anxiety has a nightmare about me.
You know where that's from?
Where did you
Doctor Who.
That was amazing.
I'm a massive Doctor Who fan. I
I
don't really
heard you say it, and I was just like, "Wow, this man's a geezer."
Well, you know where it comes from? It comes from Doctor Who, and it is Matt Smith who played the 11th Doctor. Sorry to geek anyone out. Science fiction and all that. Yeah, I can't wait till it starts again. Look at my feet bouncing up and down. And it was in Doctor Who, and then he was a girl that was having nightmares and these monsters, and the doctor said, "You know what monsters have nightmares about?" She went, "What?" And he went, "Me." And I stole it.
It's amazing. It was an amazing line, and I thought,
I added to it. That's all.
Yeah, well, I loved it anyway, and it struck a chord with me, and hopefully it'll strike a chord with other people. Anxiety is a massive, massive word in the English language today, and it gets thrown around a lot. Vin. There's a lot of people who are struggling with anxiety. If you are struggling with anxiety, what you do?
Come and see me, or come and see someone like me. Or go and see someone like Hannah, whoever, go and see somebody or talk to somebody. Or you'll find that when you talk about anxiety, it's like with this unique thing. We all have this idea that we're very unique, and in some aspects we are, 100%. But there's a lot of common denominators that we all have. So, for instance, I was talking to a guy called Dan Morley. He's got Dan Morley Boxing. He's like really big on Instagram. You should give him a follow. He's amazing, amazing guy. Very, very nice guy. But he was talking about his boxing career. Now, he won fight of the year. He had a fight. It was a fight of the year. I think it's in Bethnal Green. Oh, no, it's in the O2. I think. Anyway, fight of the year. And he said before he used to go training and stuff like that, he'd have massive anxiety attacks or anxiety things. Not really want to go into what he told me because it's private. So I'm sure if you ever want him on, he'll come on. He's an amazing guy. And I could relate to it. But you think that you can't. You think if I say that, no, they're going to think. Yeah. Or if I mention I'm worried, I'm anxious about this, that, and the other, then lots of things can be solved. Why do you think in the SAS things, like that the SAS program, when they go in, and then they get them and they take the mask, the hat, the hood off, and they sit and they have to talk about their lives. Why do you think that exists? Because it alleviates the stress that they see they're going under. That exists. It has to be alleviated, because otherwise you just run around with it in your head. People come to me and they go, "You're going to think I'm stupid because blah, blah, blah." And I go, "I've done that." Or, "Yeah, well, I've heard it before." And they're like, they look at me as if to say, "Really? Somebody else think that?"
Do you think if we express it, it leaves us? The feeling, or not necessarily leaves us, but it quells it.
Trauma can't be changed. So trauma is a pivotal moment in somebody's life. Trauma can't be changed. How you think and feel about it can be, but the moment can't. So what happens is we tend to visit in language when we're very upset or when we're very anxious. We use referential index, meaning that we go back to a sad part of, or the hard part of life to move us forward. And most of the time it doesn't. Think of it like this: if you hear a song and it reminds you of your granddad dying or whatever, a sad time, it's just a sort of a memory recall to send you back and linguistically language it.
It's strange how we connect to music and stuff like that, isn't it?
100%. Well, music's very powerful.
Smells or
indeed. Well,
takes you back.
That's the senses. Yeah. If I smell cinnamon, it reminds me of America.
Yeah.
It just pops into my head. But it's just about, so you'll find also, Jack, that sometimes when you're really sort of down or you're angry or something, you'll say something that the perpetrator of your trauma may have said. You may pull a face like them. So say it's your mum. For instance, my mum was a wonderful person and she was fantastic, but sometimes she'd flip out. Not very, very rarely, but when she did it well. And I sometimes say things my mum would say.
Yeah,
pull a face like my mum.
If you want to hurt someone, you'd say something that'd hurt you. Like, I know what you mean, Vin. Stuff that's being done to you.
Yeah, of course, yeah. And you regurgitate that. So yeah, that's what you do. So anxiety and stuff, you do revisit trauma. Can you change it? No. And that's you have these people go, yeah, and we can solve your trauma and all that sort of business. Apparently they're American, and all of them. And you can't change it. You can change the way that you think and feel about that time, but not that time. That's what that's very important.
You mentioned language then. You touched on language, and you know, today in this day and age, we throw words around like a lot, like anxiety, depression, and in the modern world now, these are common words. But I seen you do a post, Vin, and it blew my mind when you said that our language, the English language, has changed, and it's only over very recent years. Yeah. Like at the end of the First World War and stuff like that, we were using words like victorious and stuff like that.
Triumphant, triumph.
They don't get
bravery.
We don't hear these words anymore. And when you say them words, they make you feel, don't they?
Yes, because what happened is from 1914 to 1918, so the First World War, as of course you're aware, and then not really that much longer, like 21 years, there was another big war. So there was 2 world wars in like a space of somebody else's lifetime. Yeah, they had to. Now this is interesting. So you should have opened a Pandora's box here, kid. So what happens is with this. So what happens is this: they didn't use that sort of thing. Anxiety existed, depression existed. But because they didn't language, they were too busy trying to get on with it, because the Germans were going to blow us up. That was it. We're going to get put in concentration. There was so much connection that people working together to try and to defeat a common foe. There was also rationing and stuff like that. So people had to there was loved ones going away and not coming back, because young men, think you was old if you was a soldier and you was 24. So these pilots that you see in these films, black and white films, flying Spitfires and all that, and going, Roger, Ginger, over, just going over the channel there, chap. They're like, they would have been 19, 18. Babies, like the song by Paul Hardcastle, 19. It's very true. So they had such a camaraderie and a get together that these things didn't exist. Now there's two things with that. One is, it's great that they never mention depression and anxiety, but also is then when there is depression and anxiety, they can't handle it. So they seek solace in booze. So there's a generational trauma. So my mum, I'd say, I'm this, and this. And don't get me wrong, I'm not pointing my mum in a bad way, but just for instance, if I was upset, my mum would say, get on with it. Shut up, don't be so soft, blah, blah, blah. Now, yes, I understand that sometimes that's got to be said, but also, because they never had an understanding of how it would be, to how they could cope with it. So now we are echoes of that.
Yeah, we can't deal with it, so neither can you, type of thing.
Exactly, but we're in a different world now. And don't forget, we've just come out of COVID, relatively. COVID was an undeclared war. So all these kids now that are walking around and you think, they're all right, there's got to be a fallback, whatever it is. Because it was an undeclared war. All of a sudden, it was locked down.
Strange.
Couldn't go out. And then there's people going, what it is, right? It's 5G. It's 5G. 100% it's 5G. Listen, I've got a mate whose cousin knows someone who used to work for Bill Gates, and what it is. Yeah. Someone said the other day, and I mean, I don't listen to anything other than I live in my house.
I have my own bubble, me.
I'm saying. And someone said, they're going to re-inject us with chips next. Right. I didn't even know what to say. I just went, are they?
Yeah, because you don't want to satisfy them, Vin, or go down that road because you know where it can go.
I call it Sesame Street. For me, it's Sesame Street, right? I can go down Sesame Street and then end up lost and just with a load of Muppets in searching through bins and the Cookie Monster and all that. I don't do it. But look, if that's what he believes, I'm fine with that. If believe what I believe in, God, Buddha, whoever, fine. I've got no problem with it. But what I'm worried about, not worried about, but what I do know is I'm seeing a hell of a lot of kids who said, these problems, and they started in lockdown. And it's difficult.
Do you think as a generation, we've became soft?
No. No, it's such a misconception. It's so funny. It's like, on my day. So honest to God, I swear. So I watch Rising Damp, yeah. When I can't sleep, I watch Rising Damp. I'm a big fan of Leonard Rossiter. And he was from Southport, actually. And he's from Heswall. Anyway, he's from Liverpool area. Anyway, he these moments in time saying, you what the world, well, it's what the footballers now, and this is the 70s.
Yeah.
So he's saying, the footballers now kissing and cuddling. In my day, you got a swift handshake and you don't know you're born, blah, blah, blah. You're always going to get like that. The older you get, the harder it was.
Yeah.
If you look on YouTube, I'll send it to you later, on Monty Python, it's called the Four Yorkshiremen. And they're all talking about, when I used to live underwater, we were lucky, we hadn't had any water, we had to live on, under the ground, and our dad would stab us every night, and we'd have to eat hot gravel. It was just because as we get older, we bask in our own magnificence of, it was harder than I did. Yeah, was it? Right, okay.
No,
it's just one of those things. I just think it's sad. I don't think anyone's softer or anything like that. I mean, the gender thing and all that sort of business, it'll fizzle out.
Mental health 100%. Now,
as
on a whole, because it's vast, isn't it? There's loads of different veins to it, but mental health on a whole is bigger than it's ever been.
Yeah.
It's got more awareness than it's ever been. It's spoken about more than it's ever been.
Good.
Do you think it is bigger than it's ever been, Vin? Or do you just think it's spoken about more?
Generational trauma. Think about it. They wouldn't talk about it.
Oh, it was just the elephant in the room.
He's just being daft. Okay. Oh, he's just being daft. He's having one of his turns. You know what I mean? Yeah, but you would have heard it, wouldn't you? Oh, he's just daft him. Yeah. Oh, she's just being daft. Oh, she's just have to get on with it. We didn't have explanations. We didn't have understanding. Laugh. No, you got to laugh, haven't you? Otherwise, you take everything too seriously. But I think it's one of those things where we absolutely have to understand that when people are talking about mental health and stuff like that, yes, there's some people that need it, but there's going to be people that are going to use the mental health sort of banner just to use it, just to, I don't know, make things easier or make things, difficult things easier for themselves. Some people just are like that, aren't they? You know that.
We spend a lot of time in our own heads, all the time in our own heads, and there's a lot of mind chatter and stuff like that. How do we calm that, Vin, or how do we escape that, or should we sit with it?
Get on with it. Just get on with your own. Get on with your own mind. Just try and get on with it. It's yours anyway. There's always purposes as to what you speak like. Where I always say, because I've got clients that, one client went to the moon, not the moon. What are you for? I've got a client that went to the moon. No, a client that went to outer space. He went with Elon Musk. He paid, obviously, he went to outer space. And regardless of what he did and where he does, he's still going to come down. He's still going to be, wherever you are, you're still here. So it doesn't matter how much money you've got. I know people that they could climb to the top of Everest and look over it and go, "Was that it?" No, but they would.
Strange.
Yeah, right, okay. Yeah, it's down there, but up here, good. I was like that with the Empire State. Got to the top and went, right, should we go down? What, hot dog? Do you know what I mean? But it's just you've got to learn. Do you know the key thing that I've learned? And this is the most important thing, and it's so prevalent. You've got to stop taking the piss out of yourself. Yeah, 100%. Once you start demoting yourself for other people's fun or ridiculing yourself just to make
a joke
or make the joke on you, I get that you can't, and I get that there's still humour in it. I understand that. But what I'm saying is, you just when you start telling yourself you're stupid, start saying to yourself, you can't do this, you can't do that, calling yourself names and all that.
Subconsciously, then we're making affirmations.
You are sabotaging, yeah, indeed. And you're sabotaging yourself to a level that no therapist will ever get back, because you've got to do it. I don't do it anymore. People saying to me, how can you move so quick? Because I move all right for a 54-year-old man. You know what I mean? I'm not Sugar Ray Leonard by any shape. He's 61, so I'm glad I'm not. I'm maybe a few years on it, me, aren't I? But what I'm saying is, people say, oh, this to me, and I get it's nice complimentary things, but I take them all and keep it. I don't knock it back. I don't go, oh, no, I'm not. I keep it.
It's nice.
Understand? And so you've got to really, if you want to do well, you've got to know, you've got to teach your mind that when you are doing something well, you get credit for it. not egotistical. Don't walk around with a t-shirt on saying I've been on Joe Rogan 4 times. Did I mention it's only the 4? No, you don't. But what I'm saying is, it's like at least recognise what you do, and then your mind's going to give you more. If you call yourself stupid, your mind's going to adopt the feeling of stupid.
Yeah,
of course it is.
Whatever follows, I am. I am's the most powerful two words
that's
in the
from
universe.
The Bible. That's from when Moses in the burning bush. Go tell them that I said I am, or whatever it is. Yeah,
it's true though, isn't it, Finn? If you say I'm scared, you're scared. If you say I'm happy, you're happy. Well, sometimes we can say it and not believe it, but if you say it just off the subconscious and you just say it, usually it's the truth, and whatever you say, you feel. Yeah, you are.
Exactly. You create your own. You create your own circumstances sometimes, not always, but sometimes.
Pain is a great teacher. Seen you say that, Finn.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that and teach us about why pain is essential in our lives. And
you don't learn. Well, when have you learned anything from being happy, except the feeling of happiness? You don't learn anything from it. You learn that you're very grateful. You should be. You're very blessed, which you should be. But pain teaches you that this is not what I want to be. What do I do about it? Or you don't do anything about it and continue to live with that pain. You've got to be able to be willing. It's all about willing, Jack. So many people aren't, mate. They aren't. Oh yeah. Well, what I was going to do is, but blah blah and here, and it's like, what do you want anyone to do? Pain can't be avoided sometimes. Darkness is a very good place to live. We're born in darkness anyway. We're made in darkness. We grow in the womb in darkness. So I've got a tattoo on my arm. And,
I was going to ask you about them tattoos.
Yeah, that says it is what it is, and that says there is always light, and there is. But you have to earn it sometimes. People think you deserve happiness. You don't. You earn it.
Everything is earned, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is. Nothing's deserved. I deserve to be this. No, you don't. Earn it. And then you can say, well, I made it happen.
Yeah, we make everything happen. We really make everything happen.
Yeah.
Moves me into acceptance. I don't think the word acceptance gets enough airtime.
Okay.
I think, just my personal opinion, I think everything begins with acceptance, no matter what. You've got to accept where you are. You've got to accept who you are, and you've got to accept what you've got to do to get where you want to go. And some people don't want to accept that. That
acceptance in that, also accept that you've got to change it. Also accept that if you are there, you've got to accept that you're willing to change. You've got to accept that you aren't where you want to be, and there's steps to get there, but you're not doing them. Accept what you get, accept what you're causing, accept what you create. Some things can't be changed. Like I said, trauma. Listen, I've heard some horrendous stories that human beings have done to other people. Yeah, that are not even want to repeat it because it drops me into that feeling of what? How does it? Mind-bogglingly cruel. Yeah, and unfair. I get it, but you've also got to understand that these moments, they're yours to escape. They're yours. They're not mine. I didn't create them. They're not yours. You didn't create them. But it's like they're yours to escape, regardless of what it is. Some people might have had horrific times. Some people have had, you think, what are you crying about that? But it's relative to them, you know. But I think it's just about wanting to get better. It's wanting it enough.
I think people can refrain from acceptance, and it's common, and it causes them issues that don't need to be there, where I feel like if we just welcome it, and that's what I've found myself in my life anyway, if you welcome, like, okay, well, this is where I am, and this is what I've got to do to get there. And that brings me on to responsibility, because I've seen you mention responsibility, and I'm 100% on board with you. A lot of people, Vin, like say, or it's common for some people to try and
blame.
Everything's to blame for their lot.
Blame.
It was their fault, or it was them. No, it weren't. It was you. For anything good in your life, it was you. For anything bad in your life, it was you.
In disempower, how disempowering is it to blame? See, some things are done to people, that especially with children. Some things are done where you couldn't have done anything about it. That's trauma and you can't. And it's horrible. It is, I get it. Well, some things I won't get because I haven't ever been in that. Thank God I've never been in that position. But you've got to remember something. It's never too late to have a happy childhood. It's never too late. It's never too late to have a happy childhood, right? So it's about you going, look, what happened to you as a younger person, if it happened to you, right, it's 100% not your fault. When you're an adult, it's 100% your fault if you don't change it. It's 100% on you. It's on you. So it's funny because yesterday I put, sometimes I realised that the problem was me. Did you see? I posted it on Instagram. It's on the lines of that. I realised the problem was me. And then someone put, how do you know when the problem's you? I said, weekends and on a Monday. If you're going to ask me a fucking stupid, if you're going to ask me a fucking, excuse my French, you're going to ask me a fucking stupid question, I'm going to answer you the fucking idiot back. And he went, oh, that was professional. I said, well, why ask a stupid question? You know you're the problem. And you know what it is? He knows he's the problem.
Yeah.
But he's going, how do you know it's not? So I'll put one leg in the bath. Yeah. I'll keep one leg on the bathroom floor, kitchen. You're tall. That's a long leg. You've got 1 foot in the bath and 1 foot on the bathroom floor. If you're not willing to get in, but you're going, oh, well, how do you know? You know. If you know, I 100% knew when I was being a prick. Yeah. I 100% knew. But I carried on with it because you carry on with it until you come to the end of the power of it, or it dwindles or whatever it is, and you start to calm down, and then you justify it by lies and justify it by nonsense. I never do that. I used to do it all the time, knee-jerk, and then blame something else. You can't. Because how disempowering is it? You don't really get anywhere. You know, some people are just twats.
They are.
And that's it.
It is.
They are twats, I know. Yeah, but blah, 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 I know. I had a client the other day going on about his girlfriend. No, she's this. And I said, stop, go get out of the relationship then. Right, what do you want me to do? Sometimes you sit there and you go, really, what do you want me to do? It's down to you. Stay or go. But if you're going to stay, put up with it.
Yeah.
If you're not going to stay.
Because it's a choice, isn't it, Finn? And sometimes it's the people you're surrounded by. And as you've just said, when you mentioned that guy who put the comments up on your Instagram and that, you know what type of person he is, and you haven't probably even met that guy.
Well, I don't know fully.
You don't.
But I just know that knee-jerk reaction.
You don't know what person he is. That was wrong of me to say. But you know what mental frame he's in straight away. And he's not on the same wavelength as you or anywhere near there in the school of people you're hanging.
Indeed.
Mixing them circles.
Always. You never know the full story anyway.
No, you don't.
So this guy who was saying, about his girlfriend or whatever relationship he was in, I don't know if he's telling me the truth, because she could be all right, and there's always people miss bits out to make them more palatable, to become not victims, because some people are, some people aren't, but they'll leave things out because then to make them seem like
more acceptable.
Yes. Indeed.
Would you prefer if someone just come to you, cards on the table, and went, listen, Vin, this is me, this is what I've done, blah, 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 my head's wrecked because of it. Yeah. Then you can go, right, listen, you're a knobhead, you shouldn't have done all of that, but...
Maybe not say that. Yeah. Maybe not say that, by the way, so don't, if you come in to see me, I'm not going to call you a knobhead. But I'm a straight talker, so with that, I mean, it's difficult to admit. It's difficult to admit things, because you're scared of becoming vulnerable and laughed at and ridiculed. People, and shame. Shame's a very, very debilitating thing. And people don't want to talk about it. Oh, I feel shamed, or I feel upset, or I feel sad by it. And these are words that are obviously negative emotions. But I mean, if we don't have an understanding of it and then go, well, actually, so have I, there's power in sharing. That's why we've got 2 ears, And I just think that if you're on, you can't lie to me anyway. I said no. I 100% no. I tried to lie to my therapist. Not lie. I tried to avoid something recently. And she went, oh, by the way, what about that? And for a moment, I didn't like her. For that moment, I thought, how the fuck did you know that?
Yeah.
It pissed me right off. And she could tell. She's seen it in my face. And I said to her, she was 100% right, but I didn't want her to be right.
And they're the things we don't like, like when you peel them layers back, as we were talking about earlier, there's certain ones you can live with, and there's certain ones we don't like.
Exactly. Pulling the plaster off.
Yeah.
And exposing the cut and then going, oh, hang on a minute, it's not healed, has it? You've been telling me lies. You know? So it is that.
Do you think when we sit in them places for long enough, it gets better?
Yeah, of course it does. It's all about you. It's all about you. My client, the lady that I go and see, she's like, you've changed loads. And I says, because I put the work in. I've got a work ethic like no one else.
Yeah.
It's not my fault. No, I go, hang on a minute. I'm like, can sit there. Like, this is a true story, right, Jack? I can sit there talking to you, and you're more than welcome to have a session with me anytime you wish. And I'm talking to you, and I'll go, blah, blah, blah. And then I'll go, yeah, no. And you'll go, who are you talking to? I go, myself. Because my mind will go, what about that? And I go, yeah, all right.
Yeah.
Because it does.
We've all got that, haven't we?
And it doesn't stop. Random thoughts come into our minds. It's life.
That voice is the most important voice in the universe. But today, too many people are worried about someone else's fucking voice. And that is part of the problem.
Yeah.
But it's this one is the one you want to listen to more, because that's the one you've got to live with. Not someone's on Instagram, not someone's over the road, but a lot of people. And I'll hold my hands up and say I've done it myself in the past. I've been worried. What do they say? Well, what are they thinking? Well, what are you fucking thinking?
But thinking what they're thinking, you'll never know. Oh, everyone like me. You like me? Well, of course we like you. We think you're great. And then when you've gone, what a fucking insecure, needy bastard. You know what I mean, though? Because once you start asking, do you like me? You'll know if people like you or not. And if they don't like you and they don't say it to you, who cares? You know, ridicule is self-destruction anyway. But it's like when people say, you know what I think? It's an opinion. It's not a fact. So I always say to clients, I'm working in science, you're working in fiction. It's science fiction, really. So I'm working in science, I'm telling you will know, and you're working in fiction. Well, I think they and everyone says this. Everyone? When I question it. So I listen and I go, everyone.
Yeah, who is everyone?
Really? Everyone? Someone said to me once, where is everybody? And I went, everybody?
My sister, like, we grew up close, she used to say, and everyone hates you. And I'd say, who's everyone?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Don't you hate me? You know?
Yeah. And everyone knows, and people think, everyone thinks she's, how do you, and you say, I can see them all thinking. How can you see people thinking? And like, I'll pull my thinking face so you know. It's but we just spit it out. So language is so important. People just spit this narrative out as if we're meant to go along with it. Yeah, this woman said, remember this woman, it was one of the training things I was doing. And she opened the door of this room we was in, and she stuck her head in and she said, oh, sorry, I thought I was in here. And I just went, hey, you thought you was in here. Scousers do it. I'll be there now.
Yeah.
I'll be there now. I'm like, wow, that's fast. You're in Thailand. I'll be there now. You're like, really? And there's only one Aldi. Going to the Aldi. The Aldi. Yeah. The Aldi. There's only one. I love Liverpool. My wife's a Scouser, so of course. But I mean, look, it's just language. We expect it to work, and it's absolutely bananas, you know.
Let's move on. Fighting and combat sports. Mm-hmm. You're not only connected professionally to fighting and combat sports, which we'll come to in a moment, but you're also a massive fan, aren't you, Vin?
Oh, God, yeah.
How was your love for combat sports and fighting born?
My grandfather was a flyweight champion of India, boxing. He was in the army in India. And he was also a professional boxer. He only had one. He had 2 fights. One won and lost one. My dad was a boxer as well, I believe. Certain parts of him, certain areas before alcohol took its toll, etc. I don't know. I tell you, when I first started liking it, I remember being at home. I was about 13, and I think it was. And I was sat there, and my mum and dad were out. My stepdad were out boozing. I used to go out on a Saturday and get smashed to bits, and stumbling with the Chinese and that, which was always all right. But I mean, and then I remember watching boxing. I remember thinking, he's going to get knocked out by that, and he did. And I remember just watching it, and then it just took on this. I just started to like it. And then I got involved in boxing, went to amateur boxing for a little bit, not very long, and then Thai boxing took my soul, really.
What was your first gym experience?
First gym experience was in Longsight. I must have been about 9. And I was just in the gym. I didn't know my left foot from my right hand. I didn't know anything. And I remember just being in the gym. And some kids come up to me and said, oh, he wants to spar with you. I didn't even know what spar was. It was a shop.
Yeah.
You know, I got the shop for him. I didn't have a clue. I did not have a clue. Anyway, it didn't happen. But I was like, I just didn't know. That was my very first experience of being in a gym. And then first time I ever got in a boxing ring was at Sale West, the same gym that Ricky Hatton was from.
Yeah.
Amateur club. And yeah, and I didn't know what I was doing at all. It was where I picked it up quick. I don't know whether I did or I didn't. I just was that passionate about it. I loved it.
You loved it.
Yeah.
And that's all that
It kept me
matters,
safe.
isn't
It kept me safe. I felt like boxing kept me safe because if I can defend myself, then it's more likely that I'm going to be all right if anything does happen. Or it gave me, when you have a little bit of because I lived in a very small place, very small town. So if you have a reputation,
You'd get left alone.
and you're more liked.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is mind-boggling, but you're more liked because
sad, isn't it, that thing? But it's the way of the world.
It's the way of the world. I'm glad it was. You know, if we've got to find out though. But it's like no, and for that, I used that mask of masculinity back then because I thought it would make me popular. I thought it made me more popular with girls, with the opposite sex, etc. And maybe it did to a degree, possibly. However, it's you can't solve everything with threatening to punch someone into the teeth, and can you? You know.
No.
But that's the way you thought, because we're brought up on archetypes, aren't we? Brought up on heroes. I certainly was brought up on heroes that could fight. And look after themselves and be like, fight 5 blokes who's trying to mug an old woman or something. This superhero mentality. I don't know, but I wouldn't change it. Not one bit of it. I would change some of the things I've done, but I wouldn't change what the experiences I've had from it because it's gave me a life. I've been all over the world.
Gave you a purpose. I wanted to come to that in a minute. The travelling side. Did you have any competitive bouts?
Yeah, I had 7, 8 and 1 7.
Wow, did you? Really?
Yeah, but I didn't like it. I did not like it. I never liked it. I used to be scared to death going in, scared to death training, scared to death sparring, scared to go in, be so happy I got out. I hated it. Hated every single moment. There was not one bit that I enjoyed.
Do you know during that period, Vin, could you admit that to yourself at the time? Or was you in denial like that?
No, it was what I believed I had to do. I believed that I lied to myself, and as you do as a young man, you lie. You're immortal. You're not bothered. If your girlfriend splits over, she can fuck off. She's a dickhead or whatever. And really, you're heartbroken, but you daren't reveal it because you reveal it, you get ridiculed, especially as a man. Especially as a man, and with guys that banter, so-called banter, would pull you apart and stuff. And an idea that you had this inkling of a slight reputation where you can be seen as weak, then if you're seen as weak, then you're going to be pulled apart, you know what I mean? But I was very, very I was very emotionally empathetic, so I was fighting. It was awful. It was really like a Clark Kent and Superman thing. It wasn't like Batman, who Batman's cool as fuck and then Bruce Wayne's cool as fuck. I was like Clark Kent stumbling about and banging into stuff, and like emotionally at least. And then when I put the gloves on or whatever, I was trying to be someone that I weren't really, which I know that now.
Did you feel free when you're actually retired from competing and you were honest with yourself? Did that come with a feeling of freedom and a feel of elation, joy, where it was like? No,
not really, because there was no real pressure to succeid anyway.
Yeah,
so there was not really, no. There was no pressure to succeed at all, really. I didn't have the confidence. It was a false confidence. It wasn't the actual real, you believe in what you're actually doing and you're so self-contained that you have the ability to go and do well. I didn't have that. I told everyone that. I perceived it, but the actual real emotional side of me didn't have a clue. But I tell you what happened was, I boxed a kid in Goose Green in Goose Green's like thinking it in the 1982 Falklands War. Not that Goose Green, by the way. Goose Green Labour Club in Wigan, and I boxed a kid who had 15 and I'd had none, and I knocked him out in the first round. Yeah, and I was so happy to get out that but when I was talking to him, he was gutted. And I just saw it across the ring, his missus and his kid crying. Wow. And I was gutted.
How old were you, Vinny?
I was about 23.
So you were a man?
Yeah. And I was looking at him, and his missus was crying. And I remember, I can still see the little girl's face, crying, watching Dad get his head punched in off me. And I just knew. It was a sign that, come on, it's not what you wanted. I was like, I just said, I remember, I've never told anyone this. I remember going to across the ring to him and saying his name was Derek, right? And when we was getting our when we was getting our boots on, they were in the same changing rooms as me.
Yeah.
And I heard this lad from Liverpool go, Derek, do you know who you're fighting, lad? And he goes, I don't know who it is. And he had a proper voice, not like mine. He had a proper man's voice. And he went, I don't know who it is, but whoever it is, they're getting knocked out. And I thought, that's me. It's going to get me. I'm from Cheshire. And he looked like a boxer and all that. And I remember saying to him after the fight, went straight up to him in the ring, I said to him, it's a barbaric sport anyway. I just said it. Come out of my mouth. It's a barbaric sport. I hope you're all right. And he went, yeah, you're right, it is. It might not have said that if he'd have won.
Yeah, he'd have been buzzing, yeah.
But it was heavy. And I think, look, if that's what people want to do, I'm a big fan of it. I know it's a sport and all that sort of stuff. It just wasn't for me. I like to talk about it and stay on the safe side of the ropes.
Yeah.
And entertain.
And you're honest about that, Finn. Yeah. Did you feel relevant when you were boxing?
Nah, not really.
No.
I was relevant in the community that I was in.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
And when you walked away from that side of things, did you feel irrelevant then?
No, never have, because Thai boxing, I taught Thai boxing and trained world champions in that. So I still earned my stripes through being involved in the game and being a good coach, per se. So and doing well as a coach. So from that, I've always done all right. So I bounced from that. And then when I did mind coaching stuff,
How did you marry them two things together, Vin?
What do you mean?
When did the idea come to think, well, I love fighting, I love that side of things, I love watching combat sports, I love training people, I love being around that in a physical form, because you had the gym once upon a time, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
We'll touch on that in a moment. And then you went, hang on a minute, well, you knew how the mind works, you knew you could help people and mentor them. When did that moment come where you thought, fuck, I could put both things together? I mean, the things you loved, both things you loved, you sort of married them up, and that's who you are now.
It was already there.
Yeah.
Because what I was able to do, it was a bit like I had broken bits of chairs and stuff and things that were snapped off and put together. There was fighters that come to me that were deemed losers. He's shit him, he's never going to win anything and blah, blah, he hasn't got it and blah, blah, blah. And then I made successes out of that because of what I bestowed in them, what I believed in them. My belief in them was so strong that they actually convinced them that they could. They might have had the side that they believe it, but that side, they would go where other people wouldn't go, and we trained harder than everybody else. I know that, yeah. Certain things that we did. And I believed in getting fit through technique, not strength and conditioning and stuff like that, which is fantastic. We didn't have it then, if I'm honest, anyway. But I mean, everything was technique. But it's like, I knew then I could motivate people to bring another level out of themselves. Technically, I was probably, I wasn't as good as other people because they'd been around it and stuff like that, and they'd been to Thailand, etc., more than me. But we had the never die attitude. And I think that was my strength, was I believed in them and wanted it. So it was passion.
Could they feel you believed in them?
100%, yeah.
Was it difficult at first to attain their belief, or was it difficult at first? You know, because obviously you come with a reputation now. People know who you are. So, for me, if I was a professional fighter and I was on a big stage, you know, and I felt like I needed help in them areas, I'd want to go to somebody. I wouldn't just go to the fella around the corner, you know, he fucking lives in a flat on top of Karen, he's all right, you know, and he's gonna give me a few good pointers and that. I'd be like, fuck him, Vin. I need someone who comes with, you know, the certified, someone who, yeah, he's a good man coach, and I sit down, and that belief just comes from, well, what people have said. But at first, you obviously never had that reputation.
No.
Was that an issue at first or not, because of the circles you moved in and people knew you?
No, it was never an issue for me.
Yeah.
Because I believed in what I was doing.
Yeah.
And passion, you exude passion. You exude it. You resonate it. If you can resonate it and have that way of being, then people will see it.
You did have a gym once upon a time. Touch on it with me.
Yeah, I had a gym called it's called Super Gym now. Rick Barnell's got it. You might have seen Rick in the gym with me a couple of times. Got long hair and lovely guy, beard and stuff. He owns it now. He won a couple of world titles and that. And it was an outlet for me to carry on doing what I wanted to do, but be involved in it in a way and still keep my hand in, you know. We did well. It was sometimes, you know, it's one of these things where when I see people that I used to teach and they talk about it, it just seems a different person I go, you know. It really does. It's strange. Looking back, it just seems a different person I go, but I'd never change it. I'm never not grateful to that. But yeah, it was great. I had a great time with it. It was difficult at times, but it was great as well.
You're also a commentator and a presenter, Hitman Fight League.
Yep.
On Yokkao.
No, I was Yokkao. Yokkao, I've done a show for a while, but I have done Yokkao and Hitman Fight League and Infusion, which I work for, which is a Dutch company, which is brilliant show.
Tell us a little bit about that thing you're commentating. Is it Muay Thai?
Muay Thai, yeah.
Muay Thai
and kickboxing, yeah.
How did that come to be?
I've always... you might be surprised.
You don't like to talk, do you?
Very surprising that I like talking. What happened was I used to. So when I worked at What's Cooking, who I mentioned previously, me and my mate Rob, we used to have tapes back then, and you could tape yourself, record yourself, messing about. We used to mess about that, and I remember doing some pretend commentary for pretending I was Jim Watt, Scottish commentator from years ago on boxing. I remember, anyway, so I used to mess about.
Give us a little...
Right, what a great fucking fight that was, mate. You were brilliant in the first round, wasn't he? So that, and we was doing that, and we were just messing about as kids. But I've been always able to talk about something. I was a good talker. And then one day, I went to a show in Carlisle, and the commentators hadn't turned up. It was on Sky. And they said, oh, we need a commentator. Does anyone know how to do commentary? And my coach at the time says, he can talk. He said, do you want to do some commentary? And I went, okay. So my first show was on Sky.
Just a small one then.
Just a small one, just easing it in, yeah.
As you do.
As you do. And then that was it. Then I got a reputation of being a commentator and stuff like that. So, yeah, it went from strength to strength, really.
It's amazing. You've got a lot of strings to your bow, haven't you? You've been around, and I like how you've used all your different strengths in and around something you love in a different way as well.
I try to, and I try to do my very best to. You get it's like, so one of the typical examples of something is like in Holland, Infusion's very big. It's a very big show. And when I go there, you see there's a lot of Moroccan fighters. Moroccans can fight.
Yeah, they can. My best friend's Moroccan.
Is he? Yeah,
well,
mate.
His dad's Moroccan. He's from Morocco. His dad's from Morocco. His mum's from Liverpool. But yeah, I've been out to Marrakesh with him and stuff like that. And he used to box. I met him through boxing. Yeah. And he'd do 91 kilos and he could bang, man.
It's tough. And they're tough.
And he'd take it all day as well.
Yeah, they're tough people. And I love the Moroccan people.
Yeah.
So I'd say Moroccan magic. Bit of Moroccan magic going on, ladies and gentlemen. And what I love doing is I see these young kids, Moroccan kids, and they go, "Hey, how are you?" And I say, "Hey, what's your name?" And he'll say Hassan. Not all called Hassan, different names. But I'll say, "What's Hassan? Yeah. What's your name, Hassan? Oh, okay. And do you fight with? Yeah. I'll go, "Oh, what's your coach's name?" And he'll say his coach's name. And I probably won't know who he is. And I'll go, "Oh, yeah, I've heard a lot about you. Yeah, your coach sends me on WhatsApp, says you're a very good fighter and I should watch out for you on Infusion one day." And he goes, "Yeah, did he?" I said, "Yeah, 100%. And I said, "Come on, let me have a picture with you." Because that's priceless. Because
that builds them up.
Forget if he becomes a fighter. If he believes in himself, it makes him happy. It's easy work. So anyone that's got a modicum of fame, and don't brush it away, or if someone asks you a question, be courteous to them. If someone's nice to you, be nice to them back. Who do you think you are? Makes me sick. It annoys me. It annoys me when you don't use, of course, hey, and they'll say, "Oh yeah, I've heard it." And
a bit buzzing when they're walking away.
Yeah, Aunt Deary said it, because Aunt Deary's a really good fighter from Liverpool, really good kid, nice family and stuff like that. Yeah, his daddy and all that. Yeah, and he said to me, I said to him once at a Yokow show, and I forget, because I say it to him. Things to people to make them just like it, you know what I mean? And I said to him, "I'm going to see you here one day on this show, kid, 100%. I know what I'm going to see." And then when he fought on the same stage, it's called Super Showdown now, still a brilliant show, but it's a different sponsor. And he sent me a message saying, "You said one day you'd see me on it." So your words can echo.
That had lived in his mind.
Of course. And you know, and I hope he does well. He's a fantastic talent. Liverpool's got some great fighters, as always has had.
Yeah.
But it's just that if you can pass it on, do it.
Can you tell me, or tell us, about some of the fighters you work with or have had the pleasure of working with, Vin?
Well, there's one in particular, isn't there? Liam Harrison, 8-time world champion. And if you listen to the commentary, it's the most biased commentary ever. It's just, people send me messages like, you're biased, and Liam. And I used to think, I'm not that biased until I actually listen to it. And it's like this old Liam makes his way to the ring and his opponent, whatever his name is. And then, but I've worked with him, and he's synonymous with me.
Liam Harrison doesn't know me, but I just want to say he's an absolute animal. If anybody hasn't seen him, he's an animal. And in the Muay Thai world, I'm boxing, but I've seen this guy and he's fucking machine.
He's very, very special, and he's a very he's a national treasure. And if you don't know who he is and you don't follow Muay Thai, go and follow Liam Badco on Instagram. He's only got like 950,000 followers anyway.
Small time.
Yeah, small time guy. And I've worked with him, and I've known him since he was 15. Him and his cousin Andy and Richard, his coach, and everyone from Leeds Bad Company, Lisa and everyone. And he's been synonymous with me because of the work that we've done.
He speaks highly of you, Vin, doesn't he? He speaks massively highly of you.
Thank you. Yeah, and I appreciate that. And vice versa. I love him dearly. He knows this. I speak to him every day, and some of the things, the voice notes that we give each other, I would probably be hunted down by various organisations saying, "What's wrong with him? Put him in." No, but I mean, he's a fantastic guy. But I've worked with a hell of a lot of great fighters. But the thing is, for me, I like working with people. You know, I like working with people. I like everybody. I like working with everyone. Because it's interesting, you know. Just because they've got boxing gloves or they got MMA gloves or they wear whatever, it doesn't mean to say that they're any better. They just do the sport. But it's like, I've seen some people come through triumph. There's one girl that comes to my mind. Her name's Poppy. Her name's not really Poppy. I made it up. But anyway, I'll use her name. And she came to me. And she didn't want to be there. She's 16, face like thunder, slight. That's like teenagers now, what? Like, oh, great. I said, "Oh, sit down, Pops." Anyway, to cut a long story short, she was saying that she was having seizures and stuff like that, and going through things that medically that she shouldn't go through, doesn't deserve. And I know I said that earlier, but anyway. So she had a panic attack. And she said, "I have panic attacks." Oh, okay. And she had a panic attack in my office. Started having a panic attack because I mentioned like, the workings of anxiety. And as she was having this panic attack, she put her hand out to me to say, stay there. I wasn't going to go near her anyway. I just said, listen, all you got to know is you're safe. That's all. The anxiety attack, the panic attack, whatever you want to call it, lasted 15 seconds. And I was like, that was amazing. She looked at me as if I was mad. I said, I've never seen anyone handle a panic attack with 15 seconds. How do you do that? So you build on it. Instead of going, no, she had a panic attack, oh God, what would it? I just watched her do it. She got herself out of it. So that gives you a leeway then to say, how amazing are you? You've done that. What is that formula that you do? What did your mind put together? Now, how she starts it, I know that. But it's how she changed it. Now, you talk about fires, this and this, but wouldn't that be amazing if we could find out what she did?
Yeah. Recovery, bang.
Exactly. Or we could find out how she started it. Well, yeah, you can. I understand that. But how she got through it.
Because people do get into that state anyway, and to get them out of it's another story, innit? Yeah, prevention's a better form of cure, but if you're there, you want to know how to get out of it.
Yeah, and I've got another client who's 16 who's just signed for a Premiership club, and he looks like Ronaldo. He's brown. He's good looking. He's really annoying, but he's such a nice annoying. No, he's a lovely kid, and he's going to be massive. I can't mention his name, but he's massive, and he's going to be huge. And his dad brought me into, and his dad said how well he's doing, how much he's changed, and the Premiership managers are saying his attitude's changed.
Unbelievable.
And it's yeah, I'm a leader, blessed life. But like I said, I mean, these footballers and that, but I've seen people. There was one, sorry, I'm going on, aren't I? There was one lady who came to me. She had to be brought to my house because she was terrified of going out on her own. Terrified. She came to my house and I worked with her. She'd never walked her kids to school. She was never walked her kids to school. So when she went out to go shopping, she'd go in a taxi and just drive straight home with the kids. The kids could never go McDonald's because, no, we're not going in. Because she was that socially, not socially awkward. She had such fear running through her veins. And I did some work with her for a while eventually. And then I remember a few years ago, I got a message saying, thank you for the work that you did with me. I'm now driving. I've now got a job. And now I'm a nurse. And I was like,
how fulfilling is that for you?
Yeah, I mean, she never walked her kids to school. Every mum should do that. You know what I'm saying? So there's them triumphs that... Different
walks of life and different people.
People win fights. Brendan Loughnane won $1 million. One of my clients, Brendan, won $1 million on PFL. Yeah, it's great, right? Blah, blah, and stuff like that. And it's wicked, but it's right. Trinkets are great, I understand, and I love it. And if they win, it's all my fault. But when they lose, they didn't listen. But no, I'm only joking. But with the lady like that, and them stories, Jack, are the ones that stick with me most. And they're chicken soup for the soul. Yeah, that's what they are.
You work with me, Paul Molly, didn't you, Molly McCann?
Yes, only not enough, if I'm honest. Not enough. Molly's an icon. Brilliant person, done great from the city, great for women's MMA and all that, and a very likeable lady. But it's like, it was always at the end of camp. This is the problem at the end of camp. They contact you at the end of camp, and you're like, I need to know what's causing the problem that's grown till the end of camp. A bit like the seed. Let's take the seed out, then when it won't come to fruition later on.
Yeah, where you're trying to chop a plant down, it's a bit late then.
Yeah. But Molly's a natural fighter and stuff like that, and the tenacity and stuff like that. So did I help or hinder? I don't think I hindered. Did I help? Maybe not. But listen, she's done what she's done, and she's a brilliant fighter, and she's always been kind and courteous to me, and nothing ever. But if I could have helped her earlier, would I have changed it? I don't know. You really don't know. It's just one of those things, isn't it? But what a fighter she is, and what a
she's a good woman as well, isn't she?
Oh, she's brilliant, mate, and she's likable and marketable and stuff like that, and she's honest, as a day is long. She tells it as the way it is and speaks the truth. And what can you say about that?
You're very, very blessed, aren't you, Vince, to be working with people like that? You'd ever have to pinch yourself in because of how blessed you are, or you're ever a bit starstruck? You know, when you're sitting there with people like that and you're looking at them, you ever think to yourself, like, shit, I've got a good job?
I don't think that about them, because I think about every single person that hires me or walks in the room.
Yeah.
To do the job that I do. Of course, I've got a tattoo on my back in Hebrew that says always grateful. And when I fly anywhere, I just rub it to say I've not forgot, because I haven't. So it's just, for me, I don't get starstruck over people. I did over Rogan, of course. I don't, because now I just see it, everybody has got issues, everyone's got things to change, and sometimes a triumph from someone that hasn't got 1 million followers on Instagram or 200,000 of this and this. You know, these people, if you can alleviate that, you don't know whether you're doing, it echoes through a generation where they're not talking about it. You know, some of you alleviate some sort of anxiety, and I'm not talking about just me, I'm talking about people like Hannah, people like whoever is a therapist, and changing the way people think. It's nothing more rewarding. It's tiring though, Jack, but it's nothing more rewarding.
It's amazing what you're doing.
Thank you.
It must be difficult as well, Vince, to deal with these people because they are elite athletes, and everyone is an individual, which we've already spoken about earlier.
Yeah.
And there must be different challenges, different needs. Like, you know, some might have like fear of the big stage, some might have a fear of losing, some might have nerves in a build up in a camp or whatever, and you must have to adjust with different people and use different tactics and different techniques and that.
Yeah.
How do you find that, trying to adjust all the time? Because you must be constantly evolving, constantly revolving, you know.
I love it. It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Sherlock Holmes. I like Sherlock Holmes. I've got a Benedict Cumberbatch picture in my office of Sherlock playing the violin. And it resonates with me because I'm not saying I'm smart as Sherlock Holmes, but what I'm saying is it's a mystery and there's no clues unless you're shown them. And then when you have to go into this conundrum of what people are thinking, it's down to you to decipher the language of the unconscious mind. That's why everybody's different. You know, everybody's so different and so mixed up in some ways, wires and not connected in the right place. And when you get this little bit of, the one thing that is the most important sentence that you can get from a client when you work with them is this: I never thought of it like that. When you can get a client to go, I never thought of it like that, everything changes in a different direction.
It just changed their way of thinking.
Indeed, and that's that idea of it.
The mind is a muscle, isn't it, Finn? It's got to be trained.
And it's got to be stretched. And it's got to be massaged. It's got to be rubbed with oil. It's got to be looked after. It's got to be understood. It's got to be stretched. It's got to be strengthened in different ways, you know. But I mean, the thing is, it's just about sharing what's on your mind, you know, and being honest.
What would be good advice for a fighter who may be watching this now to get them in a good frame of mind for an up-and-coming bout, Vin?
I wonder who that is. I just say, I wonder who that is. We don't know, do we? What I say is, like, look, you're doing something that you want to do. There's no gun to your head. So you're doing something that you want to do. None of us are going to get out this alive. We're all on the slow boat to wherever we go, yeah? So that's going to happen. But it's like, you're doing something you really want to do. You're not being forced to do it. There's no guns to your head. You've got to remember that it's all about how you speak about yourself. And the outcomes are, I can never promise anyone that they're going to win. Never do that. What I do is feel better about going in there. You don't feel better about yourself. And if you get beat, right. If you've made a mistake and you know you can fix that mistake, right, great. But you see how you make the mistakes is when you go, I'm a dickhead. So I was in the gym the other week with Carl, yeah? And Carl said, roll. Carl actually told me what to do. And he smacked me right in the head with the pad. And he said, you all right? And I went, yeah. I was fine, but it was my fault.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't go, I'm shit. People go, I'm shit. Fucking shit. While I was doing it, because it's funny, so when I got smacked by the pad, someone was over the ring watching me on the pads, and he went, "Keep your hands up, Vinny." I went, "Fuck off, Sugar Ray Leonard." No, but I'm aware.
Yeah.
But I knew.
We all make mistakes.
Well, but it's interesting. We all make mistakes, and we can talk about it now because you're not in the emotional turmoil yet. When you make a mistake, you deal with it in the moment. This is what I was telling this kid who plays football for a very massive, big football team. I'll tell you later, yeah? I can't say. It's an NDA, whatever it is. Anyway, so when you've got to deal with it in the moment, immediately, if I got cracked, it's my own fault. I've been cracked before. I'm sure I'll get cracked again.
Sometimes it lives with you for a minute, though.
But yeah, you go, fucking shit, me. Well done. You also got to go from where you've made the mistake, and you're telling yourself you've made the mistake even worse, and you've got to come back from that, which is even further away. So you just deal with it in the moment. You go, right, yeah, I got it. All right, yeah. I say, show me again. Let me do it again. Let me do it again.
Yeah, so you've righted that wrong,
until
and you can sleep on it.
But it's not wrong.
Yeah.
But it just right at that moment.
Yeah.
It's moments. We just deal with the moments, and then we go down this Sesame Street that I call it, and you just cause yourself problems. You've got to deal with it in the moment, but the best thing to do is get on side with yourself. Just get on side with yourself. You make a mistake, right? Oh, God. So I said this yesterday. Another footballer I was talking to yesterday. Like this. So imagine the bus has gone and you've missed it, and it's up the road. Now, if you're stood at the bus stop, like more than likely another bus is going to come and get you. You're going to get on the bus, and you might be late, but you still got on the same thing. If you're moaning about the bus going from where you stood, but you're not at the bus stop at the bus stop anyway, why do you expect it to stop?
Yeah.
How do you expect it to go further? You don't. So you have to be in the right place, make yourself in the right place, and all right, it might not be at the right time. However,
it's gonna come.
That's done. It's done. Get on with it, and then go right. Okay, what did you learn? Snap, quick. Not So you've got to deal with it in a moment. But you know what it is? Never mind. So right near the fight, you're going to get nervous. It's natural. You're not meant to go in the ring with gloves on and shorts on and fight another person in front of people. No. It's not a natural thing.
No, it's not.
It's not. It's not at all. However, what you got to remember is, if you're not dealing with them little moments all the way up to your life, how do you expect your mind to support you? Think of this. We've got 24 hours in the day. That 1 hour, you're relying on yourself to do well. And you spend 23 hours going, I'm a fucking dickhead, mate. I'm fucking shit. I'm a fat bastard, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. What people do.
Self-talk.
Yeah. People walk down their own, I'm fucking stupid, me. I'm fucking stupid. Like you say to a woman, oh, like your hair. Oh, it's a fucking mess. Oh, must be a liar then. I'm blind. No, but you know what I mean? Instead of
negative affirmations, but we don't realise we're doing it. It's subconsciously, and it's bang, 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 bang.
Knee jerk.
Yeah.
I say thank you to everything.
Yeah.
Say thank you to everything.
But that's awareness thing, because you're aware of it. So now you're like, bang, bang, you'll take it all. But when for the likes of myself, or maybe someone watching this who's unaware of it, you go, oh, no, I'm not. Or what, where you're like, yeah, no, thank you for that. I appreciate it.
And how gratifying is that?
Yeah, it feels good.
See, I'm blessed to be on this. Genuinely blessed.
I'm blessed to have you, Vin.
Thank you, and I appreciate it.
It's a two-way street.
It is indeed. So it's not Sesame Street. But the thing is, you see, I think of the emotional connection or the feeling of those. Oh, you did brilliant. You did brilliant today. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I like saying I appreciate you instead of it.
Yeah.
I appreciate you.
Yeah,
because
nice.
then I appreciate you saying that. So
I am very grateful, Vin. I've got gratitude for everything in my life, and sometimes we need to stand back a little bit and just go, yeah. Because as well, when you're driven, and it's always the next thing, but it's nice to just step back sometimes and go, I'm grateful for everything we've got, or everything we've done, or where we are.
That reminds me of I got my friend Phil Wetton, who I love dearly. He paid for me to go to Thailand. He's a client of mine. We went. He paid for business class, which is very expensive, but Phil paid for it. Thanks, Phil. And twice, Phil. Actually. I know. Yeah, Phil, take us again, Phil.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah. Can you come? So what happened was, we was on that, and there was so many people that were massively rude and ungrateful, and you're like, don't you see what you're doing? You're on a plane and you can lie down and you've got champagne and a knife and fork, and you're moaning about it. It's really? We forget We forget sometimes. We let life take us away and stuff like that. But going back to what you said about fighting, you have to, if you're not on your own side, how do you expect your mind to support you when you're getting punched in the face by somebody else? Or someone's threatening to punch you in the face? Your mind's not going to be congruent, which means connected, harmonious.
Imagination and visualization. Tell me about it, Vinny. You're big on it. Do you try and get fighters to imagine situations or visualize situations, you know, positive situations, walking through maybe a build up to the fight or the place where it might be, or you know, no. Do you ever work on anything like that?
But I do it this way. You imagine yourself 15 minutes after you've won.
Yeah.
15 minutes after you've won, who will you be talking to? Who will you be with? What you be wearing? Who you going to be surrounded by 15 minutes after you've won? Not how you've won. Yeah. Because once you get caught up on how you've won,
it starts getting complicated.
You go, right, when this jab, and then my jab's working dead well, and then you throw the jab, and then they slip it, and you go, bang, and then you get hit. Oh, that's not, and then you're having an argument with yourself. Yeah. You said to me this jab would work. Oh, well, I don't fucking know, do I? It's that mind coach's fault. Yeah. Not me, of course. I told you a different thing. So what you do is you imagine yourself 15 minutes after you've won, and the reason is because you're taking the pressure off yourself. I've already won. Yeah, because there's
a lot of variables in a fight, and it's hard to say what's going to happen.
If you knew you was going to win, would you do it? If you knew 100% you was going to win, right, then you're more likely to do it than I. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So it's about you going, right, and imagine yourself 15 minutes after you've won. You have to make it clear. It has to be every breathing moment, because then you're fooling the unconscious. Like when I'm coming here today, I didn't imagine, I have this loads of traffic.
Yeah.
Because then even if there's a bit of traffic, it becomes the worst traffic in the world.
Sometimes we think about what we don't want.
That's the key to it.
Instead of thinking about what we do want, and it's very, very, and people do that so much, like subconsciously. Imagine if that happened. Imagine if that happened. All the stuff you don't want to fucking happen. Yeah. Instead of thinking, well, imagine if. But it's difficult to imagine what you want.
But you know why? Because the unconscious mind protects you. The anxious mind protects you. Anxiety is a message from your unconscious mind to focus on what you want, but it's also a message for you to understand that it's trying to help you. There's no hindrance in anxiety, not really. It's trying to keep you safe. Don't take risks. There's a thing called parts integration that I do, and it's when people come to me and go, one part of me thinks this and one part of me thinks another, or I'm 50-50. That's a parts integration thing. Oh, I'll do that then. And what happens is, I won't explain the technique, but it's very powerful. And every single time the client will come to the conclusion is this: oh, it's trying to protect me. It's trying to protect you. Don't take risks. Don't take risks. Don't leave your abusive husband because there's worse men out there, or your abusive wife. Don't leave your job because what if you've never got a job and you end up living on the street, and then that's what it tells you. It warns you, because you know why? We're geared up for that.
Yeah. Kevin Deeb said to me once, anxiety is not the fire, it's the fire alarm.
It is. And it's like, so I said to you, if I rung you and I said, Jack, your smoke alarm's going off at the house, what do you immediately think?
The fucking house is on fire.
It's not, because it was the toaster. I burnt some toast. It's all right. It was going off and now I've turned it off, sorry. But you understand what I mean?
Yeah, and I've thought the worst thing.
Exactly, but we're geared up to that. Yeah. We're geared up for mortality, we're geared up for fears and all that sort of stuff. And it's science fiction, fact and fiction. You know?
Journaling. Do you journal much? Do you tell people to journal much?
No, and I don't tell them to.
It's not for you, Vin.
I just don't do it. I've got no understanding of why people would do it. I understand it's very powerful for some people. It's just not the avenue that I'd do. Yeah. But I mean, it's great.
No, yeah, but everybody's got different techniques and different ways of working, haven't they?
Some people's techniques work very, very well. Some people come to me and say, hey, I didn't really like that. Or
it's horses for courses, isn't it, Finn? And what works for me mightn't work for you, or vice versa, you know?
Like hypnotherapy doesn't work for me.
Doesn't it?
No.
Have people tried to hypnotise you?
Yes. I've been hypnotised loads of times. And I can be hypnotised, and it's a lovely feeling. And it's nice to be calm and relaxed. But does it work for me? No. Not really.
So after it, you still
no, not really. No, the problems get solved, but I'm more of a thinker going, how does that work? It's the moment. So here's how it works. Say you're anxious, right? And you're extremely anxious. There's no changing it when you're in the moment, because you get to a point where there's an emotional cutoff and you just no rational thinking whatsoever. Like, that's it, blah, blah, blah. And you're going round and round in circles until you mostly come down, your cortisol, adrenaline, your epiphrin all comes down, and then you're susceptible to change, yeah? Mm-hmm. So when you're right up there, it's very difficult to do. But it's the moments now, whoever's watching this, if you've got anxiety, if you've got these fears, these are the moments now where you change it, not while it's happening, because it's hard then, because your mind's you've been doing it years, well, it's a habit. And it's a protection habit, so give yourself some kindness. Compassion is very important to people, is to understand that it's okay. If you feel like that and you've gone like that and you get really scared, it's okay, because so have I been.
Yeah.
Once people start to understand that it's not just them.
It's okay not to be okay.
It's okay not to be okay. Great saying. But it's like, you deal with it now. So if you're having anxious things, deal with it now. Deal with the problems now, you know. That's why the new seminar I've got, it's a nice run in that. Smooth that was.
I'm panicking here, Vin. You're going to take my job.
No. That's what my seminar, the challenge, is based on.
Tell us about the challenge, please, Vin. What is it? What's it about?
The challenge is what it says. It's a challenge to you, and I'm telling you to challenge yourself. And the challenge is that you all think at times. That's a universal qualification. Said that. Most people think that once they're anxious, there's no change in it. I have proof that there's change in it. Not the trauma, the change of the anxiety in it all.
The challenge itself, what you're challenging people to do, is it a get-together where you're going to get a group of people together in a seminar and challenge them to change?
Challenge themselves to change. They can change if they want. They don't change if they don't want. The choice is yours, you know. The challenge is, so how it come about is I was asked to do a seminar for this company called Aim to Learn in Leeds, and I just decided to do something different, and I challenged them. Put it one way, when I'd finished, the CEO of the company called me and said, you had a more of effect than any raises I have given or any promotions I've given. The bonding from the staff is just next level.
Because I was going to speak to you about business, Vin. Like, obviously, you've got a business with what you do, and you know you've had gyms, and you've got the Shoreman Solution, and you've with the commentating and all that. You're a go-getter, aren't you? Where does that come from?
I don't see it as that. If I'm honest, I just see it as I want to get better.
Yeah.
I just want to get better.
You're out to improve, aren't you?
Yeah. I want people that, like Karen, who works for me in the Shoreman Solution, I want to be able to pay her a lot of money. That's what I want. Mm-hmm. And I want to be able to have a place, another house that's better and better for my kids. It's just the way it is. So it's just about how can I want that without doing something that I've got to do something I don't like. And if it's don't like, it's mainly been challenging myself. That's what the main thing is anyway. I don't like doing that. Well, learn to like it then. Or cope with what do you not like about it? Because then you get strength. If
someone's got a business, Vin, can they reach out to you to try and give them help with the business?
100%. And it's like, listen, you are your business. So if I come across on Instagram and I was like, oh, it's shit today and this and that and blah, and all things I don't say really, if I'm honest, and came across as dowdy and things like that, who's going to come and see me?
No one. No.
You know, you could. What if you had a sign outside saying in your shop that you've got, average. Come and have some average work done. It might be all right. Depends what mood I'm in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I totally get you. You don't attract it. What you put out, you get back, don't you? You know.
You do.
I truly believe that.
Yeah, you do.
If I come in the morning time and my staff are all a little bit like straight away, bang, I'll turn the radio up. I'll be like, good morning, guys, how are we? Yeah. And no matter what's going on in my life outside that door, when I come in every single day, We're open 7 days before we. No, but and I'm near most days. I'll come in even if it's just 2 minutes.
Green splines.
Yeah. Even if I'm only here for 2 minutes or fucking all day, I'll always come in and be like, how are we? What's going on? Blah, blah, blah. And you've got to try and up the ante and make everyone feel good because you're a reflection of the business and they go off how you feel as well, definitely.
It's the most vital thing ever. Do you know what the biggest thing for loss of earnings in a business is? The cause from staff? Depression, anxiety, stress. Two things that we at the Shoreman Solution change. And listen, I don't have to. I can prove it. I've got evidence of people saying this was the best thing ever. The challenge, I did with them, and I do it with staff now. This is what I'm going. This is going to be my mainstay. Is people will cry.
Where you are blessed, Vin,
it's difficult, man.
Where you are blessed is people are your business cards, Vin.
Yes. Yeah. There's the best word of mouth is people.
Yeah, and people stand up and say, "Oh yeah, it was brilliant." I went to Vinny, blah blah blah. He helped me do this, or he helped me change my life in this way or that way, and someone else is watching going, shit, yeah, I want a little bit of that. You know what I mean?
Paul Smith did it, the comedian. Paul Smith did it.
You've had Paul Smith, I've seen you do.
Paul Smith, I've known Paul for quite a few years, actually. Paul said it on, and his stand-up in Echo Bank in Arena, the one in Liverpool.
M&S Bank Arena.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. And at the end of the show, he said, I know Vinny Shoreman's in the audience. I'd like to thank him for what his work he did for me and all that sort.
I want to thank a guy called Vinny Shoreman who saw my fucking head out all the time.
Was you there, Vinny?
Yes, no, I was, but I left. And the only reason I did is because I took my daughter, and the comedy was a bit coarse, which is funny. But my daughter was a bit, and she was with her dad, and so we just left. I was with Lewis Blow from The Only Way is Essex as well, name dropper. And, and hang on, Joe Rogan's ringing me. Wait a minute, no, and I'm joking. And and Paul said that, and I was very,
that's a moment, isn't it?
Yeah, Eddie Alvarez did it as well. Just throw that in. Didn't mention Eddie Alvarez, did I? Yeah, Eddie Alvarez did it on one when he won as well. So yeah, it was good.
It's amazing, Vin. It's amazing to hear your story, and you're just telling me these are massive moments, and you've got so many of them.
Do you want me to tell you a story about Eddie Alvarez?
Go on.
So anyway, I don't drink really anymore. I never used to, but I would drink more than I have now, which is So anyway, I remember being bladdered. I don't know if you've done this, Jack. I'm sure you're more sensible than I am.
Yeah.
And I was absolutely wasted. And I woke up downstairs, right, on this thing called the Cuddler, it's called. It was like a settee, it's like an oval-shaped thing. It was in my house. I lived on Walton Guy Road. And I'm lying there. I woke up and I was like, oh, God, what am I doing here? What happened last night? Oh, God. How many bottles of wine did I drink? It was like 1.5 or something. And I looked on my iPad. I'd been on FaceTime. And I looked and it said like 2:30 a.m. Eddie Alvarez.
No.
And I'd rang him drunk. After he'd won or whatever. Or before maybe. After he'd won. I don't know what I've said. And I said to him, what did I say? He said, it's all right, I'll ring you when I'm drunk one time. No problem. I never knew what I said. So, we don't walk on water, do we?
No.
But, what a lovely guy he is. An exceptionally nice human being. Yeah.
The last thing I wanted to talk about on the mental side of things was if someone's got a mental block, then my missus really wants to drive for all the benefits of it, but she gets very nervous when she gets into the car and stuff like that.
Yep.
What would you advise the best thing for somebody like that to do is, because a lot of people do have mental blocks with certain things and certain issues, and if they could just, get over that somehow, some way, there'd be so many benefits on the other side of it.
Yeah.
Would you have any advice for anybody like that who's watching this podcast?
Here's your missus. Here's one for your missus. I didn't pass my driving test till I was 45. I'm 53, 54 next week. Yeah. I didn't pass it till I was 45 because I didn't need to drive. Really, I was scared. I just thought I couldn't do it. I just had this idea, I can't do it. Not I was worried about, what if I do this? Your missus may be like that.
She's had 3 tests and failed all 3, and every single time it was the nerves, because she's a great driver, you know what I mean?
I failed 5 times.
Yeah.
One test I missed, but I don't admit, I failed 5 times. Let's just pretend that spitting everywhere. I don't pretend that I'm, so now I would use my mind to focus on the driving test. That's rubbish. But it's like, look, but so what? I mean, look, it's perseverance. What the fact of the matter is, right, this is the most important thing that you can say is if you've got something to change, if you really want to change something and you want to move on in your life, treat it as you've got no choice. You got no choice. Give yourself no choice. If you've got children and you're not living your life the way that you should do, and you're acting in ways that you shouldn't be, or having things and worries and fears that you've got, more than likely your children would catch it. Well, catch it. It's a catchable disease. Catchable disease, anxiety. It's a catchable disease. You catch it from your peers, your families, your friends, or your mum and dad. So here's the thing: when you have those children, you sign an unwritten law which says that you should be around for them as long as you humanly can. You should be the best you can possibly be for those children. If you're not, then you've got no choice. I don't think it's right. I train all the time. You know this. Yeah?
I know you do.
I'm not in the best shape in the world and all that sort of stuff, but I can hold my own in a way of physical feelings and things because I put the work in. I'm not scared of admitting I can't do it. Like Jake's an animal. He's an amazing kid. I love him to pieces, Jake. I've got a lot of love for Jake Clark. And Carl, and another boxing coach I've called Callum in Holmes Chapel where I go in Derby Lane. Brilliant gyms. I love them all. And the people are great. But it's just like I hold myself accountable because my kids need me around as long as possibly can. All right, the teenagers, they seem not arsed, but they still need you.
Yeah, it's longevity.
You've got to stay here. You've got to stay here and be as mentally clear and be decent, man. So they go out and we create a better world. But if you've got...
reinforces your mental state, don't it? Physical exercise.
Of course it does. Of course it does. Everything does, you know. But I mean, if you've got kids and you're not doing what you should be, then it's time to, It's time to.
Amen to
I'm
that.
passionate about that. Mate.
That's such on travel, Vin. You've been around, haven't you, with what you do?
You know, not sexually. I was trying to put that in the disclaimer. All right, so not sexually at all. Yeah, I've been a hell of a lot of countries. Yeah, I've been Thailand many times. Koh Samui, Super Pro, at the gym that I go. A brilliant gym, brilliant people. The owners are fantastic. Good friends of mine, Robbie, Raymond, and Edwin, who own it. I go there a hell of a lot. Love that place. Holland, I go a lot of for infusion. I've been a lot of places.
You're blessed, aren't you, to travel with what you do?
Without doubts, but I put the work in.
See the tattoos which were on your arm, which you mentioned at the start. What language are they in, Vin?
The Hebrew. I'm not Jewish, but it was believed to be the first text, the first written language.
Yeah.
That says it is what it is. That says there is always light. That's from a technique and timeline therapy that we do. That says you are me, which means that, you know, I feel the same as you do.
You do, yeah.
And that says my children, and that says you
are me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've got eternally grateful on my back.
And that's the one you tap every time you travel.
Yeah, when I'm traveling, I rub it.
Because you're blessed then to be traveling in that way, especially what you do. Who are your idols? Who inspires you?
At the moment, if I'm dead truthful, Hannah, who I've been having therapy with, she does, because I'm a better person for going out of my comfort zone to admit things that I didn't want to admit to myself. So in all honesty, Hannah, who's taught me a hell of a lot, Colin Mackay, who's my coach, who taught me hypnosis and stuff like that, I admire them. I admire loads of people. I admire Jake, if I'm honest. I admire you. I admire Tom, Tom from Apex. I admire everyone. I admire people. You know, I haven't got just one. Hannah will probably stand out.
Stand out one for you.
You know, Karen, who works for me, who's suffering from cancer at the moment.
God bless her.
I know. My wife, Lisa, whose brother is unwell at the moment. His parents, they're their parents. You know, we've just got so many people. I admire everybody that can do stuff I can't. People that can fix cars. That's amazing, though, isn't it? Or you know, I've got a lot of people that I admire. You know, so many.
The next one's an amazing question. I love asking this one. This one I always look forward to, and I think you can probably answer it in a different way to others. Well, you will. Everyone answers it different. Who is Vinny Shoreman?
I'm just a 5'7" Mancunian who likes seeing people see the best in themselves. That's what I am.
That was a good answer, Vin.
That's all I am.
Because a lot of people don't know who they are or they search for who they are.
Yeah, I know who I am. I know who I am. I know what I'm capable of. But I know that I'm not finished. I know that there's more to me. And I know that I'm willing to go where I have to go to get the best out of life.
Career highlights, if you had to touch on one or maybe a couple, what would they be?
Being here first.
Gotta
say,
you're
you gotta,
a sweet
you gotta throw the charm in, baby. Career highlights. The first time I did it, Showtime, which was in front of 26,000 people in Amsterdam Arena. Wow. That was a big moment for me. Liam beating Anawat, Kiao Samrit, and met at the MEN with my work when we did the Warrior, which is a hypnosis thing. Joe Rogan, of course, the thingy. I've got so many. You know, I've lived the life of 100 men. You know, I really have. And I've got so many. I've got so many things that... Working with Julie Kitchen, who I love dearly, working with Gavin Sterrett, Kieran Keddle over the years. I'm going to Canada and commentate on his show in November 25th. And yeah, I'm just a lucky guy, yeah, I guess.
What's your why? Why'd you do it, Finn? What
Because
motivates you? What pushes you? What drives you?
God put me here to do it.
Do you believe you're on the right path?
100%. Of course I am.
Of course I am.
Of course I am. 100%. I wouldn't get success if I wasn't.
Yeah.
I don't fake it. I hate that saying. Fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
I haven't, and I just believe that I'm meant to do it, and I love it so much. You know.
What's the bigger picture? Where do you see yourself going? You've got a saying, Ben. I've seen you say it before. You know, if you aim for the moon, shoot for the moon, and you touch the stars, well, that isn't so bad. What's the moon for Vinny Shoreman?
The moon would be to get the Shoreman solution bigger, to be able to work with people that I can earn so much money that I can do some of my therapy for free, to just get people out of off this train track that they think they're on, and just to make people happy, to make people laugh, to make people smile, to make them better people. And then it's an infectious thing. It's a catchable disease, you know, like a yawn. We're trying to make a happy, sensitive yawn.
You really practice what you preach, don't you, Vin? You know your life you lead now, day in, day out. I see you in Derby Lane Gym. I see you working out and training. You know, I've seen you getting ice baths in fucking freezing cold weather and shit like that. You like pushing your comfort zones. You like getting comfortable with being uncomfortable and stuff like that. You really do like practice what you're preaching. You should be proud of that, but what makes you live like that, Finn?
Because it's the way to go, isn't it? I'm genetically predisposed to die early, if I'm honest. So my family's got high cholesterol. They've got type 2 diabetes. They've got my brother died young. My dad died young. My sister had a heart attack at 50. So I'm not designed to live a life of debauchery and all the other good stuff that other people do. So I'm not designed for that, but I'm grateful. I'm very grateful to be who I am, to be in the genetics that I've got. And yeah, it's just, I do it because I know that it's good for me, and I do it because, like I said, I've got no choice. If you've got kids, you've got no choice.
Can we do a little fast 10?
Go on.
A bit of a laugh and it breaks things up, don't it? Do you rather read a book or watch the telly?
Watch the telly.
Your deepest fear?
Not achieving the points that I want to achieve in life.
Your favourite food?
Thai food.
Favourite place in the city?
In this city?
Liverpool.
In this city, Derby Lane.
Your favourite musician or song?
I can't name that. There's so many.
Crisp or chocolate?
Crisps.
Name one thing on your bucket list.
To go on Joe Rogan again.
If you could go, should have changed that to shake the mic. If you could go anywhere in the world, where would you go?
back to shake the mic and do another episode.
That was the one nice answer, man. You'd have one wish, you can only have one. What would it be?
To people to be kinder to each other. Simple as that.
You could only keep one possession. What would you keep?
My dog. Emu.
Is there anything we haven't touched on that you'd like to talk about before we go?
I'd like to talk about how grateful I am for you to do what you do. How to say that people like you make me happy, because I know that the world's in good hands when you're interested in people's lives, when you're trying to share it and trying to make people feel better. You're a good person.
Thank you.
It resonates. You can't lie to me.
No,
I'm being honest. You are the type of person that you resonate, you feel it, you know? And you know what? I'll be honest with you, this city's full of them.
it's a pleasure.
This city is full of people who resonate. I'm a Mancunian, I'm a woolly back or whatever you call them.
Nah, you're welcome here, Vinny.
Yeah, I'm an honourable scouser. Law is right, lad, and
right,
everything's
lad.
boss. But no, I'm very grateful to be on here. I'm very grateful to the people.
Thank you so much for coming in, and thank you so much for coming on. Just before we go, Vin, can you tell us a little bit about the links in your Insta? Jim King.
Jim King, sponsored by Jim King. I've been for a while. Great casual wear, as you can tell. And yeah, they've got a vast range, men's and women's equipment. So yeah, it's lovely.
Training tunes.
Training tunes, brilliant. We're doing a thing called Weaponized, which is going to be coming out next year, which is a series of music. We get the earphones, it's earphones and stuff like that, the music, and it's going to be my voice over it, and there's going to be also hypnotic downloads you can get on Weaponized. So yeah, that's
Okay.
Training tunes coming soon.
When the time comes, I'll share it with you.
Please.
Organic Relief CBD.
Organic Relief CBD, been brilliant to me. They do sea moss and stuff like that. As I said, they've helped Karen with some oils. And so is Chewy from Derby Lane. So Chewy, if you're watching, I appreciate it. I'm sorry I can't remember your company's name, but I appreciate what you've done for us, and I'll never forget that.
Amazing. Is there any shout outs you'd like to do to anybody personally before you go?
Yeah, not to one person, but to everyone that's been come to the Shoreman Solution, anyone that's ever messaged me, anyone that's ever been my client in the past or the present. I appreciate every single one of you. And I'm a lucky guy, and thank you for all that you do, and thank you again for bringing
Vinny,
me.
thanks so much. No bottom of my heart for coming on. Thanks for shaking the mic. Until next time, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Peace out.